Hello everyone, this is Andrew Kimmons with Kimmons Toolworks, and today I'm making a short video in a slightly different location here. I'm moved about 10 feet. I wanted to let everybody know, since my YouTube audience is different a lot of times from my Facebook and Instagram, that I am, for a very limited time, for a probably just one run of it, I am making some CPM Magnacut 2-inch plane irons, the 2-inch Stanley style plane irons. And this is because I needed one. See, once a year I plane all of my benches. I have 3 relatively large wood benches in my shop that I use, and once a year I need to resurface those because they get just absolutely horrible, because this is mostly a metalworking shop, so they get impregnated with hardened steel dust, and they're just black. They just turn black with that hard steel dust, and they get chips, like machine chips, embedded in them. So it's a real horrible situation for using a bench plane, honestly, but I think it's the best and most efficient way to do it. So I hand plane all my benches once a year, and I just needed something that could easily survive that type of, a situation where abrasion resistance is needed to that extent. And I planed this main bench yesterday, and it performed absolutely awesome. I honed it and did the entirety of the bench. I'll show you. It's 8 foot by 4 foot, and did this yesterday, honed it, did the entirety of the bench going that way, and I had to do the ends a little bit this way because it was a little bit uneven. And after that, I took it and I just touched it up on 8,000 grit, just on an 8,000 on a DMT extra fine, and then came back and did it this way and just took a little shaving off of it going that way. And I mean, it was just absolutely killer. It survived the whole thing. And this is my beater plane that I got just for my benches. It's a Taylor Toolworks. It says Tay Tools. Taylor Toolworks #4 beater plane for my benches. It's like, I don't want to tear up nice planes on the underside running them over machining chips and stuff. So this thing was like $100, and honestly, for a beater plane, it's all good. It works. But what I will tell you is that even in a beater plane, that right there, that is one hell of an upgrade. That Magnacut plane iron, this is the best plane iron I've ever used. I have never used a plane iron that good. And that's saying something, because I have used, at this point in my life, many hundreds of plane irons. And yeah, I like this a lot. This makes me happy. There's few things in life that make me happier than a high-performing plane iron that I don't have to hone. But you get a plane iron that's not a good plane iron, that'll be a lot of honing if you intend to actually finish a piece nicely with a plane. You may have to hone a crappy iron all the time, but this thing, good. So this is a limited time thing, to the best of my knowledge. I don't think I'm gonna have these around for a whole heck of a lot longer. So probably just the one run. KimmonsHandTools.com. It should be one of the first listings. It's either catalog or collections is what it's under, and you can get one of these for a very limited time. The ones that you'll get will have my mark on it. This doesn't have a mark. I'll put my mark on it. But yeah, if you're interested in one, they're $150. So I mean, it's kind of expensive for a plane iron, but that CPM Magnacut itself is not cheap, and there's just not a thing I can do about it. I actually, since it all comes from Crucible Industries, it all comes from the same place. There's not multiple manufacturers of CPM steels, because CPM literally stands for Crucible Particle Metallurgy, so it all comes from Crucible. So, and believe me, I shop around for the best prices on this stuff, because it's all quality, it's all US steel, and it all comes from Crucible Industries. So I do extensive shopping to get it as cheaply as humanly possible, because trust me, where I get it is like half of the price where you get it from most places, and it's still expensive. Like, there's some places online where a piece of steel, an 18-inch piece of steel in this thickness by that width, is like $257. Like, no joke. So I have a pretty good hookup with my CPM steels, so I can get them a lot cheaper. And oddly, I don't know if I've ever told this story. I called Crucible Industries one time, like the world-renowned best metallurgy on the planet. Like, they're well known for their alloys, and the dude knew who I was. I was like, holy crap, this is the coolest thing ever. I was blown away. The guy knew me, he knew my work, followed all my stuff. I was like, holy crap, Crucible Industries knows who I am. That's neat. You know, hey, that could be useful. Maybe someday that's a foot in the door to make my own alloy, because I have ideas. If I ever got the opportunity to make an alloy with Crucible, I think it would be, it'd be probably the best alloy on the planet for woodworking. And I know that for a fact, but I have some ideas, but ideas a lot of times are different in practice than they are up here. A lot of things come out differently. So, but anyway, all of that aside, limited time 2-inch, and it's just 2-inch Stanley style. I'm not doing any of the other ones in this batch. And I also wanted to let everybody know that I have a really, really cool thing I got to go grab on my bench, and I'll show you. Not on my bench, my toolbox, on top of my toolbox. Because this is awesome. We all remember the 2-inch scraper. It's an A2 2-inch scraper, 120 thousandths or 125 thickness, plus or minus a little bit. And I upgraded these to where I have these in G10, which, you know, that's all fine and dandy, but I made a revision of this tool, a version 2.0, because after a fair amount of time with this in my hand and using it, I learned what I would change about it, what I would keep about it, how I would do things differently with it. And that's just part of tool making. I always tend to improve. That's my goal, is to constantly be improving. And so I did a revision of this. It's a version 2.0 of the scraper, and it is absolutely killer. The stuff I've done with this is ridiculous. And of course, it's in CPM Magnacut, and these are available for a very short period of time as well. And this is it. That's the new scraper, and it is way thicker. It's a monster. And like I said, this is in CPM Magnacut. You can see the difference in thickness that I did there. It's a massive difference in thickness. Also, you can see that the blade is significantly longer. This is 2-inch width. The new one's 1.5. And also you can see the handle is significantly bigger. I did the handle a lot beefier just to be more comfortable in your hand. Like, and I like the narrower size. And I'll tell you, I have a lot of people ask me what the heck these things are used for and what's up with the scrapers and why they're so popular. Let me explain why. We all have junk scrapers sitting around. I have junk scrapers. I have like a bucket full of junk scrapers. And I have snap-on scrapers that weren't so cheap. And they all suck. I mean, every one of them sucks. What I want in a scraper tool is something that's literal blade steel hardened like a blade. I get sick of this soft, like gummy Chinese steel. And so I figured CPM Magnacut, harden it like a blade, right? So this thing's a blade. This is a woodworking tool. You can use this just exactly as you would a chisel. No problem. And I actually, how I do my edge retention testing is I put a chunk of aluminum in my bench and I do this and I cut into it and I cut shavings of aluminum out of it and just take chunks and twist it, because if a blade's going to break, it's going to break there. And so I did probably 100 or so cuts and twists with this edge. You can still see aluminum deposits on it from the test, because it gets aluminum rubbed off onto the blade, and this thing is still shaves hair just like it was. Nothing changed. And I also took some Osage orange and was gouging at it and beating on it, and it appears to be unused still in terms of performance. So it's a woodworking tool. You can use this thing like a chisel. The coolest thing about this, you can use this sucker around the house. I have this thing in the house all the time. I clean my glass cooktops with it. And I grabbed this the other day, and because I had to move a strike plate on one of the doors back a little bit, about 1/8 of an inch, and just grabbed this, just used it just like a chisel, cut the line all the way down, cut the corners, and then took it and just shaved it off, moved the strike plate back, boom, good to go. And it's just the handiest tool ever. Another thing that I did with this that's awesome, well actually I did this with the old one, was in the fall we noticed how dirty our windows were because our house is like 100 years old. So the windows, you couldn't just wipe them off on the outside. It was like hard water deposits and dirt that was just baked on there. So the windows were always foggy. So I figured what I would do, I took all the windows out one at a time, sprayed them down with glass cleaner, and used this scraper, and just that stuff just comes right off and it doesn't do anything to the glass. And all of our windows now in our 100-year-old home, which some of them, like a third of them are original, maybe half of them are original, they all look brand new. The glass is clear like it's brand new, and it's the coolest thing ever. So the uses for these scrapers just never ends. Anyway, I'm gonna shut up running my mouth. If you want a CPM Magnacut version 2.0 scraper, these are available limited time also. And this is significantly better than this. And that's part of tool making. I don't intend to stay the same forever. I intend to do better and better as I move on. So if you want one of these are, I believe, $185. And once again, because that's a big slab of CPM Magnacut, actually, I'm not charging any extra labor on this over this. The labor charge on these is the same. The only thing I'm charging extra on this is material. So that's the dead bottom cheapest I can make it for you, is $185 on these. But what you get is a lifelong tool that's a massive slab of CPM Magnacut. And if you don't like the G10 scales, you can see the new hardware on there. And these just pop right off. These scales pop right off. But if you don't like the G10 and you want this in wood, like an exotic wood or like a blue colored wood or something like that, like the ones that I did before, just let me know. Just email me, andrew@kimmonshandtools.com, and be like, hey, or you can message me on Facebook and Instagram. Just be like, hey, I like the scraper. I don't want the G10 though. I want wood. And I'll just make you a custom listing and we can do it. The prices may vary depending on if I have to order a particular wood or not. But yeah, you can get that in Cocobolo if you want, or curly maple, or blue curly maple, Osage orange, ebony, whatever. You know, be creative if you want one. If you're like me and you just want toughness and durability and you don't want to screw around, G10. G10's what you want, because that is some crazy stuff. It's the same thing as the knife that I carry. It's a Benchmade, I think 810. I've been carrying this knife for years, and I do not go easy on this knife. I beat the crap out of it, and that G10 is still flawlessly perfect on that knife. G10 is an incredible material. So anyway, that's all I've got for today. KimmonsHandTools.com. If you want to get in on the batch of 2-inch Magnacut plane irons, if you want one of these, those are available for a limited time, very likely too, in CPM Magnacut. Once again, you can see the design revision. Furthermore, I have one more thing that's listed, and I've got to go grab it because I was not prepared for class today. For those of you who like the utility knife like I do, I use the crap out of this thing, and I made these in CPM Magnacut. You can see that the ergonomics on that's just ridiculous. Oops, don't want to drop it. But I mean, it's flawless ergonomics for that. But the first batch of these I did in CPM Magnacut, and the cost of the Magnacut, the labor cost was a lot more because having to grind this bevel in Magnacut takes quite a bit of time. But it priced a lot of people out. A lot of people couldn't pay, you know, $400 for a knife, and I totally understand. Custom CPM Magnacut knives, they really can't be cheap. It's a lot of work and the material's expensive, but I'm doing these in A2 as well for $250. So they're a lot cheaper. They're like $150 cheaper in A2. So if you want one of these and you don't want to pay the extra cost for CPM Magnacut, totally cool. Go ahead and go to the website, kimmonshandtools.com, and you can pick one of these up for $250 in A2. You can pick one of these up for $185 in CPM Magnacut. You can pick up a CPM Magnacut 2-inch Stanley plain iron for $150. So those are the cool things I have going on right now. As far as pre-orders go, mind you, all of this is pre-order. Since everything I do is handmade and it's all made by me personally, it takes me about 90 days usually between when a pre-order comes in to when they ship. That's roughly how long it takes me. So everything gets out the door, and I'm kind of nutty about things don't go out the door unless I feel good about them. So if I have to remake something multiple times to feel good about it, I will do that. So 90 days is usually what it takes me. Anyway, I hope everyone has a great day out there and enjoy your Friday, and I will see you next time.